Happy Thursday, folks. The Charlotte Hornets are undefeated, and welcome to another episode of Hornets Daily, your one-stop shop for all things Charlotte Hornets. As always, we're presented by the good people over at FanArc, and I'm your host, Vance Ballard, but you know by now you can call me VB. I want to thank everybody for joining us out there today, watching along with us. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, leave a like and a comment down in the comment section. Over 400 subscribers now. Thank you to everybody who's already hit the button. But once again, if you haven't already, smash that subscribe. We're trying to continue to grow and build this Hornets Daily family here on the program. And again, leave a like and a comment. We enjoy watching you guys interact down in the comment section, getting to interact with you, and knowing some of your thoughts on what's going on the show. Going to have a question about that at the end of the program today, so do get active in that comment section down in the chat. We've got a major show today. The Hornets get a humongous opening night win, setting franchise records and blowing out the Nets along the way. We're going to talk a lot about Game 1 here on the program today. The Hornets, it seems like the Hornets have themselves at least one, maybe two centers on the roster. A lot of questions were answered in some impressive performances from two big men last night in Charlotte. The rookies had a good night. They came out with a point to prove, and they shined in their performances. Three out of four of them anyway. Three of them saw the floor. We'll talk about all the rookies and how they did last night. And then I'm going to wrap the program up today, as I mentioned, with a question for you guys. I want to know some of the chat's thoughts on what you saw in Game 1, some of your takeaways, what you thought from the opening night performance. That's how we'll wrap the show up today. But you know, one thing we don't do here on Hornets Daily is beat around the bush. We like to dive headfirst right into the program, and that's exactly what we're going to do here today. The Hornets got their fifth straight opening night win last night against the Nets, setting a franchise record for most points scored in a game, putting up 136 in a blowout victory over the Nets. 77 first-half points for the Charlotte Hornets, and everything we said we needed to see, we saw. The priorities that Coach Charles Lee and the rest of the team talked about in training camp, they were evident and they were on display early and often. This team came out firing, scoring 38 in the first quarter. They had a lead after the first quarter. They came out and showed that pace that they've been talking about, wanting to speed up, and they did exactly that. Moved the ball well. This team looked like they were meshing very well. They were firing on all cylinders from the word go. Two rookies got the start on opening night, and for the first time in franchise history, just the 30th time ever in the history of the NBA. Shout out Eric Collins for that piece of information. But the two rookies that got the start, Con Knipple, Ryan Kalkbrenner, they played great in their opening debuts in the NBA, opening the regular season as well. Preseason Tajon Salon, that person is gone and disappeared. Someone got into his ear between the last preseason game and last night, because we saw a whole different version of Tajon when he was on the floor last night. He kind of looked exactly like I said he would all summer. He came out of his shell. He looked very comfortable on the floor. He scored double figures. He had some rebounds and made good work of every minute that he was given last night. So again, I don't want to say I told you so, but I kind of told you so, that Tajon Salon was ready to take that next step. He was ready to handle this role that was going to be given to him coming off the bench, playing good minutes for the Hornets. Colin Sexton showed his worth on night one. He didn't get the start, which I was a little bit surprised by, a little bit perplexed by, but it worked out just fine. He came off the bench, had 15 points, and made a huge impact outside the box score as well. That intensity, that dog mentality, that making other players play as hard as he does and lifting them up around him, that was evident every time he was on the floor. He was a pest on the defensive end, and set a screen on Colin Sexton if you dare. That's going to be something you're going to have to do at your own will, because he's coming down the tracks and he's not scared to go through anybody. He made that evident last night. Folks, Brandon Miller is all the way back. He looked like he had not missed a beat last night. 25 points from the Hornets superstar. We'll talk more in depth about Brandon Miller as we continue to go here. But we talked all summer about him needing to be an all-star, about the kind of performances he was going to have, the caliber of play that it was going to be required for Brandon Miller for this team to go anywhere. I know that was said several times by a lot of talking heads that Brandon Miller was going to have to play at an all-star caliber if this team wanted to go forwards, if they wanted to make any noise in the East, if they wanted to go anywhere. Well, folks, if night one was any indication, put your seatbelt on because we are headed on a journey. Once again, 25 points, 8 of 19 from the floor, 2 of 9 from 3, 7 assists to just 1 turnover, and finished plus 14 on the night. His wrist seemed to be 100% fine. He was all good to go. Like I said, looked like he had not missed a beat. And his the tape on his wrist, the sleeve, whatever you want to call it there, was a non-issue. He was high-flying, got, I think, 4 alley-oops by my count to Brandon Miller. He threw a great couple of passes. He looked really good moving the ball. He looked really good working with his new teammates, working with some of the younger guys, being a leader on the floor and talking to them, getting them in the right spots. Brandon Miller all the way back, ladies and gentlemen, and if this is any indication, I'm expecting a very fun year watching him play basketball. Charlotte finished with 33 assists as a team. They out-rebounded the Nets 50-38. Again, a big question all summer has been, what's the presence in the paint going to be like? Well, with a guy like Nick Claxton, who's a proven center, a rumored potential trade piece for the Hornets, he came in, he had 17. He led the Nets in scoring, but he was, I don't want to say a non-factor, but he was outmanned in the paint by Moussa Diabate, Tajon Salon, Ryan Kalkbrenner. Guys like that, the Hornets dominated on the glass. They did win the offensive rebound advantage 14-12 as well. 50-38 once again, the overall rebounding total for the Hornets. As I mentioned, they came out very fast, something we know Charles Lee has said several times they want to do. They jumped on the Nets right from the get-go, right from the opening tip. Again, 38 points in the first quarter from the Hornets. That was one of the priorities put in of camp that was put into action that we talked about we needed to see. It was very, very well done on the in terms of ball movement, in terms of pace, in terms of speeding up the tempo, getting more possessions, getting more shots, and a high shooting percentage. The team shot well over 50% as a team last night from the floor and looked very good while doing it. Now, minus a small lapse that was the third quarter where they gave up 37 points to the Nets defensively, the defensive end of the floor was very much improved last night. All of the communication issues from the preseason completely gone out the window. They looked very good communicating with the big men. They looked very good on the glass. They had 4 or 5 blocks as a team. Everyone was doing their jobs, switching, helping on defense. The pick and roll, they looked good in the pick and roll as well. This Hornets team was a very different team than we have seen. I know they've won 4 straight opening night games coming into this year, but this one was very different than the one we've seen on the last 4 opening nights. This team looks like they can actually do something. They can go to that play-in spot, to that playoff spot that they were talking about. I know it's just 1 out of 82 games, but if last night was any indication, this is a very different Hornets team, and we're in for a lot of fun this season. Now, we did have some did-not plays last night. Coaches' decisions, Pat Connaughton, Mason Plumlee, and the most interesting one, Liam McNeely, did not take off his warm-ups last night. He did not see any minutes. Trey Mann, however, he did. He got 21 minutes, 12 points, 6 assists, as he showed that he has not missed a beat either and is ready to continue to play at that high level off the bench. Those type of 6 man of the year numbers that he was having before he went out last year. Again, I don't know that for sure he's going to win the award, but I've said it several times, and I said it this week actually. I think he's going to be a very high-level player. I think he's going to definitely be in the conversation at some point for playing like a 6 man of the year, as long as he can stay healthy, and he showed exactly that last night as well. And I told you all several times, no one's really doubted me. I hadn't got a lot of pushback from it, but I just wanted to say I've told you all several times from the first preseason game that we're going to get a different LaMelo Ball, and he showed that last night. He still scored 20, but he did it on 7 of 15 shooting, 4 of 8 from threes, didn't take the most shot attempts on the team, took smart three-pointers and made 50% of them when he did it. He had 8 assists to just 3 turnovers. One of those turnovers came in garbage time when he was trying to make a play to just kind of keep things alive. So realistically, 2 turnovers when it really mattered, 8 assists. LaMelo Ball showed full display his passing ability, one I've talked about that he's going to really break out and dip into his passing bag this year with the talent around him, with the shot making around him. And if the team is going to shoot upwards of 58% on the night, then he's going to have no problems continuing to dish it. And you could see at times during the game there were multiple instances last night when I saw LaMelo go towards the basket or get to the three-point line, and in last year's instance would have been an absolute shot for LaMelo. He would have taken a wild drive, or he would have taken an off-balance one-legged three-pointer. Last night he was willing and ready to move the ball. He was looking for his teammates. He almost wanted to pass the ball a couple times to Miles Bridges instead of scoring the ball. And so that's kind of what I was talking about. He looked really good on the defensive end as well. He wasn't that normal liability that he usually is. The added effort, the extra effort was there. Now, I know that's just night one, and you expect that kind of stuff from everybody. But if LaMelo can keep up that effort on the defensive end of the floor, as well as be as efficient as he was offensively tonight, then we're talking about something scary from him, because that's the type of offensive efficiency we've said he needs to have all summer. That was one of the biggest knocks against him coming into this year, was his offensive efficiency, was his turnovers, was his decision-making, his poor shot selection. All of those things out the window last night. He started early in the season putting on display the different version of LaMelo that I think we're going to see this year, that I've been telling you guys for the past 2 or 3 weeks that we're going to get. And he was on full display last night, looking like the leader of this team, looking like the true point guard, looking like the all-star caliber player that he can be. He had a fantastic night. It was exciting to watch LaMelo back on the floor, healthy, and working this Charles Lee offense the way it's supposed to go. The Hornets played 10 players off the bench last night. 9 of them scored in double figures. That is a huge testament to the depth that has been added on this team, the additions, the moves, the choices that Jeff Peterson and Charles Lee made this offseason have worked out from the jump. Now, I'm not getting way too ahead of myself here. I know it's just one of 82 games, and it is the Nets. It's not the most formidable opponent by any means, but this team looked really good. The depth scored points, getting double figures from 9 of the 10 guys you play on a night is very, very impressive. It shows a lot. It gives Charles Lee a lot of options going forwards as to who to plug and play, as each guy has potential to come off the bench and make that kind of impact. The big question all offseason, something we talked about almost daily, was the center position here in Charlotte. Do the Hornets have centers? Why aren't they making moves to go out and get a true center? What is this roster going to be built around? Is it going to be Moussa Diabate? Can Ryan Cockburn hold down the 5 position? Is Mason Plumlee going to make any impact? Well, last night was full of the best kind of surprises from this whole roster, and the biggest one came at the center position. Again, we know how criticized it has been all offseason. People saying that the Hornets don't have a true center. People saying that the Hornets center position is going to be impossible to watch. People saying they just don't know what the Hornets are doing or not doing with that center position. And I think Moussa Diabate and Ryan Cockburn have heard those criticisms, have heard those talks, have heard those questions, and it took less than one half to see that all that may have been a little bit over-exaggerated. All that criticism, all those questions may have been for nothing. We mentioned Ryan Cockburn got the start, and he was fantastic, folks. 27 minutes for the big man out of Creighton. 10 points on 5 of 6 from the field, 11 rebounds, a debut double-double. 5 of those 11 rebounds came on the offensive end of the floor. 1 assist, 2 blocks, and let's be honest, it should have been 4. 2 of his blocks were called fouls. One of them was, at least one of them I know was reviewed, and it was still wrong. They were both clean blocks. He should have had 4. He was a real force on the defensive end, used all 7+ feet of that frame. I know his height has been up in the air with the changes in the program and whatnot. So all 7+ feet of that frame was put to very good use last night. And again, the 5 of 6 on 10 points scoring is extremely impressive, as he was efficient on the inside on the offensive end of the floor. He did what he was asked to do when he was asked to do it, and that's convert inside the paint. Cockburn was better than anyone could have imagined last night, and he looked extremely comfortable in the paint, minus the first maybe 4 to 6 minutes of the game. Had a sloppy turnover to get started, but there were some first night jitters, some first game jitters, some I'm starting my first NBA game ever jitters, but those went away very quickly, and Ryan Cockburn settled in and was a real staple piece, honestly, for that Hornets interior all night long. Moussa Diabate came off the bench. Again, that's something surprising, because you guys know that I was clamoring for him to get the start. I was expecting him to get the start. Not upset, not surprised that Cockburn got it. I told a couple people yesterday, and I told you guys, kind of hinted at it, that Charles Lee has been leaning towards what looked like starting Ryan Carpenter all camp and in the preseason that talks about how good Carpenter has been, how impressive, both from Charles Lee, Miles Bridges, and the rest of the team. And then the number of minutes he got in the preseason kind of indicated the Hornets were headed in that direction. But Musa came off the bench, that typical high motor self, to the tune of 13 points, 5 of 7 from the field for him. So very efficient shooting from both centers who played on Wednesday night. 9 rebounds from Musa, 4 of his came on the offensive glass. 1 steal and 1 block. Diabate even went 3 of 4 from the free throw line, which is very, very much improved from where he has been in his normal career and where he was last year. And he was fantastic outside the stat sheet as well, much like Colin Sexton. He made a humongous impact on the outside the stats, not in the box score, just with his energy, with his presence, with his communications, with his help defense, with all of the above there. Musa was a big part of the bench unit last night. I think that Colin Sexton and Musa Diabate may have an argument for highest motor second unit in the NBA right now. Those two guys, if they continue to be part of that second unit, if they continue to run the twos together, then they are absolutely going to be one of the higher energy, fastest motor, most intense second units in the league so far. I've been clamoring all summer for Musa. You guys know that. I've been telling you I think he should be the starter. I've been telling you I think he's ready to take that next step and be a true center in the NBA. Despite being a bit undersized, he's got the tools, he's got the athletic ability to overcome that. He did very well doing that last night, once again against a bigger Nick Claxton. And I've also been saying that his offense is about to take that next step. He did a lot to prove me right last night. This is not intended on being a big victory lap for me here, but a lot of the things that I talked about this summer fortunately did come to fruition last night. Musa looked a lot better on the offensive end of the floor. 5 of 7, again, efficient. 3 of 4 from the free throw line. That was maybe the most impressive, is that he settled down nicely at the charity stripe and got comfortable and made some shots that he normally would not from there. The communication between Carpenter and the defense, Diabate and the rest of the team on defense, we know that was a struggle point at some times during the preseason. We know that was a priority. That was something that this team wanted to get together and get fixed, and they did exactly that last night. The communication looked very well, and they really meshed as a team. Looked like this was not their first game, but like they had been playing together for quite some time. Now, this is not necessarily a center, but he is a big man and plays down low in the paint. But Tajon Salon he had a great night, should make a lot of Hornets fans feel a whole lot more comfortable about his role and about what he's capable of in the offense and defense going forwards here in this rotation. Now, as I said in the beginning of the show, the preseason version of Tajon Salon, that person is long gone. He disappeared. Someone got in his ear. Someone got him right. And we have now seen him return to the version of himself that he was in Vegas during the Summer League in those 2 performances. Tajon had 10 points, 4 of 7 from the field, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc, 1 of which he shot from back in Mooresville, which was way beyond the arc, and he hit that too. 4 rebounds, 1 assist in 17 minutes off the bench for the big man. From an eyeball perspective, he looked so much different than he did in preseason. I can't express that enough. He looked much more comfortable. He looked much more confident. He just looked more certain of himself and what he was doing on the court than he did in the preseason, and it was really nice to see that. It was much more, like I said, the Tajon we saw in Vegas during the Summer League versus who we saw in the preseason last night. And I think that is who we're going to get. That's the Salon we're going to get going forward. That confidence that he got last night will only continue to grow as he'll get more playing time, get more important minutes off the bench, and continue to contribute night in and night out. Now, no, it was just one game. Again, we talked about it going into last night. We've got to temper those expectations no matter what the outcome of this game was. I know it was just one, and it wasn't the most formidable opponent by any means. That we've heard all the talk about the Nets. The Hornets have been compared to the Nets, been put in the same tier as the Nets. I think that was part of the reason they wanted to send such a message last night, is to show part of the NBA media that they are not in that same tier as teams like the Nets and the Wizards and things like that. They are a step above. They are trying to make moves. They are headed in the right direction. And this fan base should feel much more confident based on the performance that we saw last night. Again, try and keep the expectations tempered, but a fantastic performance on both ends of the floor, and you should definitely feel more comfortable about the bigs on this roster. Again, Kalkbrenner looked fantastic. Diabate had a great night. Tajon Salon came in and provided some big minutes, so he can help bolster that interior as well. We've talked about Ryan Kalkbrenner. We've mentioned Con Knipple a little bit, but the rookies really shined last night, 3 out of 4 of them anyway. They came out, 2 of them got the start, as I mentioned, Con Knipple, Ryan Kalkbrenner. Sion James played a heavy dose of minutes as well. Kind of unexpected there, but he looked really good on the court in his performance as well. Khan had very good use of his minutes. He had 11 points, 4 of 6 from the field, 3 of 4 from beyond the arc, 5 rebounds and 1 assist in 25 minutes. But the eyeball test outside of the box score, not on the stat sheet, Con Knipple showed a lot of the reasons why he was drafted number 4 overall. He really utilized that high floor that he has, that high basketball IQ was on display for most of the night. Like I said about Colin Sexton, he too was also a real pest on the defensive end of the floor. He did a wonderful job staying in front of some guys that I know was going to be a question going into it, questioning his athletic ability. Not sure why people were doing that, but it was a question being thrown out there. He answered that pretty quickly, and he did a nice job once again standing in front of everybody, switching, helping on the pick and roll, and as usual, doing what he does best, moving without the ball, finding space, creating space, opening up lanes for guys to drive as he cuts through. Khan had a very good performance. Did have some nerves early on, much like Kalkbrenner, but he settled in nicely and, like I said, showed why he was that number 4 overall draft pick, showed what he's capable of, showed the promise he offers this Hornets team, and again should make everyone feel a little more comfortable about his prospect and what he's going to do this season going forwards. However, it was a very unexpected performance from his former Duke teammate Sion James. 17 minutes, as I mentioned, a heavier dose than expected from him. I'm not sure anyone saw that coming. He did only score 2 points, but he had 4 rebounds and 2 assists in his time on the floor. All of his work was done outside of the box score, though. He was a fantastic defender on the entire night. He came in and showed exactly why people have been saying and clamoring for him to be an NBA-ready defender right away. He instantly proved that. He was in part, not the whole part, but he was in part responsible for holding Michael Porter Jr. to just 12 points on the night. Kept one of the leading scorers for the Nets at bay when he was on the floor. His ability to switch, help on the defensive end is already elite in the NBA. Is something that that's going to carve him out a nice spot in this rotation. We talked about the possibility of that a little bit this summer, and now he is definitely making it happen. He took full advantage of the minutes he got last night. Again, maybe didn't stuff the stat sheet, but that's not really why he's on the floor. We know his offensive game has got to catch up to his defensive game anyway, and his defensive game is very, very far out there right now. He looked fantastic on that end of the floor. If this is the Sion we get for the entire year, then Jeff Peterson is going to deserve even more flowers on the back end of it for the draft choice that he made. I do think it's going to be very interesting to see if the 17-ish minute number is the standpoint, is the mark for Sion going forwards. Is that somewhere he's going to get? Is that the kind of minutes he's going to get nightly going into the rotation, or is it going to be more matchup based? Was Charles Lee just trying to get a young guy some minutes in his opening game against, like I say, a lesser opponent than the Nets? That'll be very interesting to see coming up against the 76ers and some more better competition. I'd expect to see a lot more of Sion, however, if he can continue to defend at this high level night in and night out, if he can guard the guy, the number 1 scorer, if he can come in for Brandon Miller and take some of those reps off the wing, take some of those reps at the wing on defense and utilize. He brought the ball up a few times. He's not going to turn it over. He's smart with the ball. He makes good decisions. So there's a lot of promise to Sion and what he'll do and his role going forwards. Will it be more like it was tonight? Is this kind of where Charles Lee wants to see him fit in this rotation? That's an intriguing question. I mentioned earlier Liam McNeely was a DNP. That was a coach's decision. He did not check in last night. That's very intriguing to me. I know a lot of people, myself included, are high on Liam McNeely. I still am, not losing any faith or any confidence. But it was intriguing that he didn't check in. I'm high on him. I'm interested to see if he's going to play going forwards. I'm honestly not going to lie. If you'd asked me yesterday morning, I would have bet you that he got 17 minutes and not Sion. So that part was a little bit interesting. But we'll see how Liam McNeely's role in this rotation unfolds going forwards, if he is going to be someone who just kind of gets minutes here and there, when they come and go. Now, I told you we're going to wrap the show up with a little question for you guys, and that's exactly what I've got. Now, I just want to know what your thoughts are on Game 1 last night. I want to hear what you thought about opening night, some of your takeaways. How high are you on the performance? Are you staying right in the middle because it was just one game, or are you just walking away going, well, they beat the Nets, so what? We've got to wait and see. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Drop a comment down in the comment section. We'll talk through some of those answers later on in the week, or tomorrow here on the show, as a matter of fact, and we'll get ready for the next game against the 76ers coming up this weekend. That's going to do it for today's program. Once again, the Hornets get a big 136-117 win. Thank you, as always, for watching along. Remember, smash that subscribe button. Help us keep growing this Hornets Daily family here on the program, and we'll see you right back tomorrow with another episode of Hornets